Hello, BookTube. I think I have mail for you. I have really a new books video, but some of it was mail that just got opened off camera. So I don't know that that counts. I don't know whether this counts in furthering our streak of mail. We haven't missed a day. And I thought we were going to miss yesterday. I made one video. I got one book in the mail yesterday. This thing, Diary of a Foreigner in Paris, by Mallow Part A, from the New York Review of Books Classics series. And I duly made that video. I had only one package, but I opened it anyway. And then a massive snowstorm, a rainstorm that turned into snow and sleet, moved a year into Boston in mid-May. And really heavy, concentrated, sky is black, pounding on the window panes, precipitation of any kind, whether it's rain or snow in the middle of May, tends to just roll back the clock to 1990, and all of a sudden I don't have Wi-Fi anymore. It's still there, but I guess the raindrops are hitting the waves or the beams or whatever it is, so it doesn't work anymore. So my videos were the devil's own trouble to upload last night. But I did mention this book, and I mentioned in that video, which I think has posted now, that the New York Review of Books editorial team and I we never see eye to eye. I admire what they're doing with their reprint line so much I do. People love it. It's really popular. They're really well done. They get new introductions. They get new works. They bring to light old works that no one's thought of before, that no one's thought to reprint. They very much are not just doing Penguin Classics or Bantam Classics. They're creating a classics line of their own. And I really, really admire that. I love that as an idea. But virtually none of their choices coincide with my own reading history, with my own taste. Virtually nothing. They've done hundreds of books, I think, by now. I think probably 10 have been anything that I thought belonged anywhere outside of Williamsburg. I'm very happy to be on their mailing list, though, and I got this yesterday. And out of curiosity, I read it last night. And I really, really liked it, which is kind of surprising for me. At one point in the book, late in the book, one character says, Mallow Part A is not only the author here, he's the character in the book. He's telling you, he's giving you his diary, he's telling you his various piquant tales. Sometimes just a single paragraph like in a commonplace book, other times long scenes. And at one point late in the book, a character says, talking of Mallow Part A, says, Mallow Part A's stories are made of nothing, but he tells them well. And that's in a scene with a really good recounting of a really good confrontation between Mallow Part A and Mussolini. And that line stuck in my head when I was done reading this, that Mallow Part A's stories are made of nothing, but he tells them really well. I pretty much agree with that. I don't know what to make of this, and I feel, as usual with NYRB classic books, I feel a little late to the party. I know there are people who know everything about this author and have followed every little jot and tittle of his career and personality and interviews and whatnot in ways that I have done for other 20th century figures, but not this one, not hardly any of the ones they pick for their line. So I feel a little late to the party, and I'm very happy to report that that feeling goes away right away, because this is a translation, but it's an introduction by Edmund White. The introduction by Edmund White was really nice. And the translation is from the Italian by Stephen Twilly, and he does a perfect job. I was swept up right away. And that's the right approach for feeling left out of the party in a lot of cases, right? Is that if you feel that way, the book itself should take care of that feeling. Some cases it won't be true, especially in nonfiction, but even in fiction, some cases it won't be true. Some cases you'll need to know a little more to be swept away. But I would argue that when it comes to really strong fiction, that should not be a factor, and it wasn't here. Because I don't know every jot and tittle of the Gospel of Mallow Part A, and yet I thought this was a really enjoyable book to read. I'll almost certainly read it again. And I might even investigate the other Mallow Part A translations that the NYRB has done. They did translations, or I think new translations, of his two big novels, the ones that even I have heard about. We shall see. Anyway, in terms of new books, that was mail yesterday, and it was a success. So I'm glad to report that. Then these next two are new books. They are, one of them is a little old, but it was new getting to me. One of them is from March 20th, and it's a romance. It's Chasing Cassandra one of the Ravenel's books by Lisa Kleypas. And here you have, this is an advanced paperback. So you've got the date on it, on the spine, and you've also got a bit of the step back on the spine that exists nowhere on the mass market. Because this is not, here you will have this is just a cover, but this doesn't have the interior art. And the other one that I got is due soon. It's due in a week or so. May the 20th is the date on the spine. But I don't know if that will stay true. I'm thinking that it will. If the mass market of an advanced mass market is out already, then I'm thinking that it will. And this is Society of Sirens, Volume 1. This is The Rake S by Scarlett Peckham, an author I have never read. And this is brand new. This is Meet the Society of Sirens, 3 radical libertine ladies determined to weaponize their scandalous reputations to fight for justice and the love they deserve. So very much upending the normal, very generous Regency formula. And this is already out. This would have been in bookstores if there were bookstores open. And this is coming out this month. I don't know if it is or not, but those are new. Those came to me third hand and are new. And another new book that I guess you could say that it's new, but I don't know where there are no bookstores. Nothing's open. I guess you could buy this. Another new one is a Penguin classic. Penguin has brought out a new edition of the Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle. This is a translation by Adam Beresford, with a very, very attractive cover there. This will be just an ordinary black spine paperback. Can you see that? The lighting's a little iffy here. Snowstorms always do that in mid-May. Snowstorms in mid-May always do that. But that's what it's going to look like here on my little red Omnicom, Macaulay Omnicom. And believe it or not, I will give it a try. I will go at the Nicomachean Ethics again. I've long since figured out that Aristotle isn't the author for me. I think he's all fizz and no gin. And the Nicomachean Ethics is certainly along those lines. It's the type of thing. It very much serves the function that, as far as I'm concerned, all philosophy serves, which is to have dude bros quoted at parties and be that guy. So that when they leave to go back to their book-lined little den in their mother's basement, everybody else at the party can just laugh and say, oh my God, can you believe what a douchebag that guy is? Oh my God, he's at every party and he always talks about Schopenhauer or Aristotle. And he's so in love with himself. Can you believe that? That's the purpose of philosophy, is to give those dude bros something to talk about while they're making their disastrous impressions, and then when they leave, everybody else gets to laugh at them and talk about the books they're reading and enjoying. No one has ever actually read philosophy and enjoyed it. It's not for that. It's for use as a cudgel against people you have decided are less educated than you are. That men have decided are less educated. I've never seen a woman do that. I've never seen a woman use philosophy that way. It's a waste of time either way. And I already know that. I've read 7 or 8 different translations into English of the Nicomachean Ethics, but I will try it again. And the one thing I can't tell right away from this Penguin edition is whether or not this is a new translation. I don't know whether or not this is a new translation. I'll have to look that up. The ebook did not make it easy to tell that, and that's odd. Ebooks are usually refulgent with information. Maybe it is there, and I just am not knowing how to look for it. And then the last, in just a general new book video, I guess we could call it. This is not a new book by any means. This is old, but I found it in a box and on the sidewalk, and I brought it home. It's in perfect condition. Well, it was a little ragged, so I reinforced it a little, and I cleaned it up, and I realized when I got back here what I kind of sort of suspected when I picked it up out of its box, which is that it was one of those free take as many as you want boxes. And I realized as soon as I saw it that I didn't have a copy at the moment. And that it's been a long time since I've reread it. And it's Great Harry by the historian Carly Erickson. This is a trade paperback reprint by Pegasus or Bloomsbury. Who did this? St. Martin's Griffin. Of her biography of Henry VIII. And I remember I read it when it first came out. When was that? As long as we're 1980. Oh my God. Oh my God. I read it when it first came out. I thought it was tremendously spirited. It gave me the same, the one negative impression that I had is that it was just a fraction of the story. And that's a little irritating. when you're reading a biography and you know enough about the subject to know that the biography is just a fraction of the story. A lot is left out. But the more time has passed and the more other Henry VIII biographies I've read, the more I've realized that that seems to me to be true about this figure. It seems amazing to me to say in the year 2020 that we still don't have a truly definitive biography of Henry VIII. And yet, I might say that. It was only, 10 years ago that I think we got a truly definitive biography of President Kennedy. That was a long time with a lot of people working on it. So, and there's been only one. There hasn't been another like it. I would argue that sometimes these great figures in history tend to be viewed through the prisms of a fraction of what they were, which can make for satisfying reading. Don't get me wrong. It can make for satisfying reading. Nigel Hamilton's written a whole trilogy on Franklin Delano Roosevelt simply in World War II. And it's terrific. Absolutely terrific. But you sometimes want a one-volume, big, fat, definitive biography. This is not that, and neither is Francis Hackett, and neither is Scarisbrick. But they all contribute, and I'm less censorious than I was back in 1980 by a tiny hair, so I'm sure that I'm already reading this thing, and I'm loving it. So I'm glad to have found it, and I'm not sure that I would have snapped it right up under normal circumstances when I was suffused with books, but these aren't normal circumstances, so I grabbed it. And there you have it. That is kind of a new book, new arrival type thing. I don't know what you'd call this, because it's new and old, but mostly new to me, except for the Nicomachean Ethics and Great Harry. But it's a kind of a melange of new books. So we'll see what you make of that. I'm not sure I can call it a mail haul. Because I'm not opening any packages on camera, and that feels a little necessary for a mail haul. Maybe that will happen later today. You never know. But one way or another, we're here to talk about books, so there you go. I'll wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.